I'm Josh Ryan, licensed professional counselor, and this is your daily rep, a short practice to build emotional control under pressure. At the beginning of this process, this probably felt like something you were trying to do. You were trying to pause. You were trying to control your tone, trying not to react, maybe even trying to be more aware. And when something is new, it feels effortful. It feels unnatural. You have to think about it. You have to remind yourself, and you have to catch it in real time. And sometimes you catch it too late. Sometimes after the reaction has already happened. That's how it starts. But if you've stayed in this process, even a little, something has started to shift. Maybe it's small, maybe it's subtle, but it's there. You're noticing things earlier. You're catching your tone sooner. You're more aware of your reactions. You're beginning to pause, even if just for a second. You're thinking differently. And that matters, because that's not just behavior change. That's identity change. And identity change doesn't happen all at once. Like we've discussed before, it happens through repetition, through awareness, through small adjustments stacked over time. And now you're starting to see it. You're not just reacting the same way you used to. You're not just moving automatically. There's space now. There's choice in how you want to react. That's the shift from reaction to awareness, from awareness to control, from control to identity. Identity is where this becomes real. Because once something becomes a part of who you are, you don't have to force it the same way. You don't rely on motivation or on reminders. You simply operate from it. And that's what's happening here. Whether you realize it or not, you're becoming someone who pauses. You're becoming someone who notices. You're becoming someone who doesn't react immediately. You're becoming someone who takes ownership. You're becoming someone who repairs. That's not small. That's a complete shift in how you operate. And it's happening through reps. Now here's what's important. Don't overlook it because it's not perfect. Most people miss their progress because they're focused on what still needs work. They think, I still reacted there. I still messed that up. I'm not where I want to be yet. But that's not the right measurement. The right question is, am I responding differently than I used to? Even slightly. Because slight change repeated over time becomes significant change. That's the process, and you're in it. Now let's go a little deeper. Identity is built through evidence, not intention. What you say, not what you plan to do, what you actually do. Repeatedly, that becomes your identity. So every time you pause, that's evidence. Every time you lower your tone, that's evidence. Every time you choose not to immediately react, that's evidence. Every time you repair, that's evidence. Over time, that evidence stacks and your brain starts to shift how it sees you. Not, I'm someone who reacts, but I'm someone who is working on control. And eventually, I'm someone who operates with control. That's the progression. That's what you're building. Now here's the key. Identity needs reinforcement. If you don't recognize it, if you don't acknowledge it, you miss the opportunity to strengthen it. And that's why reflection matters. Not to sit in the past, but to see the progress. Because progress builds confidence, and confidence reinforces identity. That's the loop. Now let's talk about pressure. Because identity shows up most clearly under pressure. When things are calm, anyone can appear controlled. But when things get tense, when emotions rise, when conversations matter, that's when identity begins to show. And if you're doing the reps, you'll notice something. You won't be perfect, but you'll be different. You'll pause more. You'll react less. You'll recover faster. That's identity in action. Not perfection, but direction. That's what matters. Now here's another important piece. This process is not temporary. This is not something you do for 30 days and then move on. This is something you build and you carry forward. Because emotional control is not a one-time skill. It's a way of operating. It shows up everywhere. In conversations, in relationships, in leadership, in stress, in your decisions. And the more you reinforce it, the more natural it becomes. That's how identity solidifies, through continued reps. Now here's the shift I want you to make. Stop thinking I'm trying to do this and start thinking this is who I'm becoming. That language, it matters because it changes how you approach the work. You're not forcing change, you're building identity, and identity is durable. It holds, it carries, it shows up when it matters. So let's make this practical. Take a moment today and reflect on the past couple of weeks. Where are you different? Where are you catching things sooner? Where are you responding better? Where are you recovering faster? Don't overthink it, just notice. Because when you notice, you reinforce. And what you reinforce will become stronger. That's how this works. Today's rep. At the end of today, identify one moment where you showed control. Even if it was small, even if it was just a pause, a slight tone adjustment, a delayed response. Notice it, acknowledge it, because that's evidence. And that evidence is building your identity. We're still in Pillar 8 practicing over time because this isn't just about what you do. It's about who you're becoming. If you're serious about building emotional discipline and long-term control, stay with us in the process. We're in a 30-day discipline run. 29 reps completed, one more to go. If you want to read more about the framework in the book or practicing the workbook, go to pauseandrespond.com. Follow this show so you don't miss the final rep, because tomorrow we bring it all together. We lock this in. Less reaction, more choice.